Hi, hello, welcome. In this video, I thought I'll talk to you about a very important festival on our calendar. Most of the Indians celebrate this festival, definitely down in Tamil Nadu, where I come from. This festival is a very big deal. So it's usually celebrated in 3-4 days. The first one is the Bhogi, and the next day is called Pongal. The third day we do like Mata Pongal, and then one of the days is Kanam Pongal. So the most important of them is Bhogi and Pongal, and that's what I thought I'll talk to you about and share my thoughts about these two festivals. So a month called Margari, as per the Tamil calendar, comes to an end, and the 29th day of that month, or the last day of the month is celebrated as Bhogi. So Bhogi, what usually happens is that people would go and burn their old things, so unwanted things that they have. They will create like a bonfire and burn those items. There's been a lot of bad press about the pollution caused by this and the whole practice of burning. So I thought first we'll cover that. The idea, in my understanding, is that what material you do not want anymore, unwanted things, things that are worn out and you cannot use them anymore, first of all, you need to part with them. Now, this is quite important at this day and age where a lot of people seem to be seeking comfort in hoarding things. So, material has to be kept and amassed rather than letting go. So, this to me is a very important aspect of the Bhogi festival, where we need to start thinking about what we're going to part with. It's not things that are still in use, so we're not just going to waste things, but even the ones that we do not use. So, for example, how many of us have outfits that wouldn't fit us, but we keep it in the back of the cupboard thinking at some point we will lose weight and fit into it. So it might be of better use to give it to someone else who might actually fit into it. But instead we tend to hoard. So if it's come to the end of life, we need to let go. And that is one of the important thinking, in my view, in Bhogi. And it is quite interesting that that has come at the end of Margari, because Margari month is one of those that is considered as purely for the love of God. So, especially Tamil Nadu, we don't tend to do any other auspicious things in the house, like no weddings will take place, no other rituals and functions will usually happen in Margari. The reason for that is that your focus should all be in the Lord. I feel that it's quite befitting that at the end of that month, we need to start thinking of making a fresh start. Because by then, if you have actually followed the norms of the Margari month, where you're not really expected to do a lot for yourself, it's more the Lord that is the focus, it gives you an opportunity to reflect on things without a big ego in you. So I find it quite appropriate that Bhogi comes straight after Margari, and it teaches us that material is not going to be permanent. Now, coming back to the point of the moral police is talking about pollution. Now, you need to keep in mind that these practices of burning things was started years and years back, several years back. Back in those days, they probably had very few things for themselves anyway. And hand-me-downs and the whole family using the same cradle for all the babies in the family is not unheard of. We wouldn't go out and splash money and buy one cradle for each child, for example. So the number of things that they amassed was definitely much less than what we have today. And most of those things, keep in mind that were not really made from plastics or rubber or all the synthetic items that we currently have and we possess a lot of. It was probably an old mat that is made from natural fiber, an old blanket which was probably a cotton fiber, and those natural materials are what were predominantly used, so it may not have caused an awful lot of harm when we burnt them. Also, there is a bit of thinking behind that, where instead of putting it in the landfill, when you burn it, they just become ashes and they go into the soil. also we end up being the same. So when our time has come, we are burnt and the ashes are put back in the soil or in the rivers. So it goes back to where it came from. I still think landfill versus incineration, if you like, maybe incineration, but that's my opinion. So that is all about Bhogi. And other important aspect of Bhogi, in my opinion, is also the fact that you can reflect on what material you want to put or part with, but very, very importantly, what habit do you want to break or what change you want to bring in yourself. So it doesn't always have to be the things that you have to part with, but you could be having a number of bad habits. For example, I have been working on waking up much earlier so that I get a good chunk of the day. Even if I wake up an hour earlier, that is quite productive. It makes a lot of difference. So there could be little habits in us, or it could be bigger changes that we want to make. Now is a good opportunity to think about those and start the changes, because that's what Bhogi is for, reflection. Get rid of all the unwanted thinking, unwanted thoughts and feelings, and bring in what is really needed. So that's Bhogi for us. We'll quickly talk about Pongal the next day. So Pongal is a festival where we thank the sun god. Extremely important to thank the sun god, especially if you are in a country like where I live, where sun is a phenomenon that we rarely see. And on this day of Pongal also, I've not had the luck of seeing sun god. So in India especially, we're all blessed with a huge amount of sunshine. Sometimes it's probably a bit too much. But we need to keep in mind that it is this sunshine and it is all other natural factors that make the country very rich in agricultural produce. And without these, without the mercy of nature, we will not have food, no matter what your job is. We cannot have our food if nature is not as merciful as it has been. So this is an opportunity to pause and think of the greater aspects of life. So we look very small in front of all these natural phenomena. Again, it is an opportunity for us to reassess our world and understand that we are not the end of the world. We are not the world, so to speak. We are a drop in that big ocean. So Pongal to me is a very nice festival where we make a lovely dish, Chakra Pongal. But the important aspect of that is that it has to overflow. So abundance, it is to bless us with abundant health, abundant happiness, abundant prosperity, and for a bountiful harvest in the next season as well. To me, the most important aspect of this is the gratitude. We should fill ourselves with the gratitude for what we have got so far, especially from food point of view. There are so many in this world who are starving for and don't even have one meal, whereas we are all blessed with so much. And the fact that things are still growing despite us abusing the nature is a sign that nature is extremely merciful, and we should be thankful for that and do what we can to preserve nature. So with those thoughts, I will leave you to think about Bhogi and Pongal based on what I've just said. I'll see you in another video. Thank you. Bye-bye.